Sanbonani guys, welcome back to yet another video, and we are speaking about the Mommy Club Sugar and Spice. Listen, the Durban Knights brought on the heat this week. They brought on the content, or should I say the person that brought on the heat is Christinah. But listen, the way the mommies are so wholesome, I thoroughly enjoy these episodes. So one of the opening scenes that we see is Resh and Lenore's daughter Mia. We see Resh actually having a patient whose name is Chloe, and she has a disability, and she's basically doing her work there. There's something about that scene that melted my heart so much, you guys. One thing about me, I love the twins. I love Resh and Losh, and I just think they're so wholesome, and I feel like in the way they speak, in the way they treat people, I feel like you can tell that they've got good hearts. But there's something about people who have the patience and the hearts for people who are living with disabilities that just melts my heart. So there was something about the way Resh was just interacting with the girl Chloe, how she hugged her. There was no sense of awkwardness. I know this is her area of work, but I'm just saying you could tell that she enjoys what she does. You know, she loves working with people with disabilities. And oh, guys, that really touched my heart in so many ways. Also the fit that Resh was, that work fit that Resh was looking, that Resh was wearing. Listen, it was so cute, and her body was banging. I am just still trying to wrap my head around how she's 45 years old, looking that good. I mean, the twins, listen, we've got to give it up for them. And then another scene that we see is Abigail actually invites Natasha over to her house to have some dinner. And what I found interesting about that type of scene is that Natasha brought a fresh perspective when she actually touched on the fact that she is a stepmother. She doesn't see that as a circumstance. Now, for majority of us, when we grew up with the mentality that marrying a guy with kids was actually putting yourself in a very difficult type of circumstance. So if I'm being quite honest, this is the first time ever in my life, guys, where I am hearing a person say that them being a stepmother or them marrying a guy who has kids is actually not a circumstance for them. But I love that, because at the end of the day, it is your decision. And when you choose to get married to a person with kids, your heart at least must be open to loving those kids. So I think that is such a fresh perspective. And I think it has something to do with these days parenting. Parenting has changed, you guys. It is so diverse. I mean, to think that in today's societies, there's still stepmothers who still want to be ill-treating their stepchildren as if, you know, they were forced to be married into the circumstance, or be forced to be married to their father, is wild for me. So I found that so refreshing, but beautiful that both Abigail and Natasha are stepmothers and love their stepkids too. But I mean, we need to see more of that. I mean, guys, if you're a lady and you're not married and you do want to get married and you're listening to this, your heart needs to start opening up to being a stepmother, because highball people have kids today, left, right, and center. Like, it's a very rare thing to meet a person and they actually don't have kids, believe it or not. Then, guys, this whole episode is actually centered on Lenore's event. Lenore is actually hosting the ladies, and she's actually launching her line. And she invites all of the ladies to the event. I don't know if she invited Christinah Child, because I didn't see her making a phone call, but I guess Lenore is cordial with people, so I want to believe that she actually did, you know, invite Christinah to give her a chance. Because remember, on the last episode, she did say to Resh and Losh that she wanted to have a one-on-one conversation with Christinah. So we see Lenore there. Lenore looked so good, guys. She looked so demure. She looked so cutesy. She looked so, what's the other word? It's demure, cutesy, and mindful. Yes, babe. She looked so demure. She looked so cutesy. She looked so mindful. She was dressed in a mustard, sexy mini many number. And what I loved, guys, when the event started, her family came through first, which was her 3 kids and her husband. Listen, there's something beautiful about people who know how to center their family in everything that they do. And that's why I was saying that I appreciated when um, Kim's baby shower was done, that her mother was actually invited and incorporated in the whole planning. And in this episode, we actually get to find out that Kim's mother-in-law, her husband's mother, was actually also invited. I think it's a beautiful thing, guys, because at the end of the day, when we have these events, what's the point of calling a whole lot of people who are, majority of those people are not there and in it with us when we are going through the most. People who are not even there during the birthing of this beautiful thing that they are celebrating today. So I loved that about Lenore. Her family is so respectful. I mean, the way they spoke so well of her, guys. I even I even shed a tear or two, because I feel like it's one thing for other people to be able to recognize the work and what you've went through and celebrate that. It's a different thing for your family to appreciate that and applaud you and celebrate you in that. I think it was such a personal, beautiful touch for the kids to actually even say something. Because I mean, what was the point, or what would have been the point to have other people speak, whereas her family is the people who firsthand got to see a lot of the things that made her the woman that she is today. So very beautiful. One thing I actually even noticed, every time a guest arrived, to guys, her family stood up to welcome the guests. There's something very beautiful about that, you guys. Hosting is very important, and the way you treat people when you host, very, very important. I found that to be so respectful, that anytime a guest came in, they all got up to actually welcome the guest. I loved that. Beautiful, beautiful work from Lenore and her husband. The work that she's done upon, or the work that she's done within her kids. Beautiful. I expected Christinah to actually make a comment around, Lenore's children making a speech, but I was just like, okay, let's see what you have for us, Christinah. But one thing about Christinah, guys, she won't disappoint. Just when you think and you feel as if you've said enough yours when it comes to Christinah, she just surprises you. God keeps giving and surprising us week after week. I'm just like, girl, I am struggling to really come to terms with a person being this mean. I don't know, guys. And someone in the comment section on the last episode was like, did production ask Christinah to be this mean? Because there's no way a person can be this mean. And I'm just like, I am hoping that production said something, because I'm just like, there's no way someone is this mean. I'm provoked, guys. So anyway, the ladies arrived to the event looking all cute, looking all dapper. You know, the ladies never disappoint. And then Christinah walks in, and you can literally feel and see that the atmosphere when she walked in, people were just like, oh, here comes the drama. Here comes the drama. Here comes the one person we really don't want to be with. And I think she probably felt it. And one thing I actually noticed is that Christinah, I don't know. She is giving, if you watch The Real Housewives of Durban, when Slee said she is financially overstretched, I feel like Christina's giving those vibes. I feel like Christina's giving the vibes that she's financially overstretched. She is definitely not on the league financially, style wise, with the rest of the other ladies. And listen, I'm not going to judge her for that, because I don't believe in judging people's step ones with people's step sevens. Majority, if not all of the ladies, them, besides one, which is Asharia, because Asharia is quite young. The other ladies are, they are well off in their ages, and I feel like they are advanced in life, and that kind of gives them what's the word? That kind of gives them a step ahead, because they've had time to acquire to acquire the stuff that they have, to acquire the wealth, and to be where they are. Now, Christinah is quite young, you guys, and hence I'm saying I'm not going to compare her to other people. But listen, Aishwarya is quite young, but listen, we know with Aishwarya, it is generational wealth. Did you see the car that her father was driving in episode 1, you guys? Listen. Anyway, the car that Christinah arrives in, you guys, I'm just like, ma'am, for the vibes that you're giving, and like, just keep quiet, because I'm just like, you have no business in judging other people, the way they dress, the way they look, considering that, I mean, in this group, you are at the bottom of the chain. And I'm sorry to say it. So the car that she arrived in, and then when she arrived, the cameraman decided to place emphasis on her heels, and it looked like she was struggling to walk in those heels. She arrived, she did not carry a handbag, and I mean, it's a ladies' event. You are with other ladies. Of course, you're going to be judged for not carrying a handbag, my girl. So she arrives there. I bet she could pick up that the atmosphere kind of shifted when she walked in. And then Aishwarya walked in after her, and the ladies were so happy to see Aishwarya. I like Aishwarya. Listen, I love that she minds her business. She's so wholesome, so respectful, so beautiful. I love Aishwarya. So Aishwarya walks in, and she walks in with a bouquet. She walks in with flowers. And listen to what Christinah says. Christinah's like, you can see that Aishwarya was basically kissing behind, kissing ASS. She was kissing behind because nobody asked her to bring flowers. I'm like, ma'am, who doesn't know that when you are going to an event where a person is hosting, you bring flowers, or at least after the event, you deliver flowers to them? Like, I mean, Aishwarya even got a standing ovation from the rest of the other ladies for actually remembering. I think that is such a cutesy thing to do, such a mindful thing to do, such a demure thing to do. And I appreciate that, considering that Aishwarya is one of the people, or actually in the group, she has the youngest baby. For her to actually remember such detail, I think it's really commendable. So yes, we had the scene, or we had the scenes where Lenore's children were basically giving their speeches. I spoke about that. Lenore's story, you guys, so touching. I believe there's something sentimental about people being able, or people telling their stories within, or when they're having events or hosting events. I feel like it makes people connect to you so much, and it makes people appreciate the journey and the work that they're seeing today, that you didn't just wake up and decide, oh, I'm just starting a line, or wake up and everything was dropped on your, on your lap. Like, there's a story to this. And it was so touching, and you could see all the ladies could really relate to it. But Christinah says in her diary session that she was actually inspired by what Lenore was actually saying, as a person who actually also suffered from health issues. And I'm just like, Christinah is such a confused girl. Like, do you want to be inspired by these ladies, or do they bore you? Because I'm hearing both of these things like come out of your mouth. But one thing I've noticed about Christinah, she is such a critique. She will find something to critique. Even if something is beautiful, she will find something to critique. So I was expecting that coming from her. And then we see a scene where Lenore is showcasing her items, her bag. And Christinah says that firstly, when Christina's at the event, she's like, oh, when will we be able to order? And how many items will a person be able to, or how many items will one person be able to order? And she's sounding like a person who really wants to support the business. But in her diary session, she says that she hopes these 100 Rand looking items they don't get oversold or overpriced. And I'm like, that is so rude to say. Even for you to say these 100 Rand looking things, I'm like, Christinah, you are super rude. And nothing within her, even gives, makes her ashamed or shy to say those things. Like, listen, nah, ma'am, Like there's nothing okay in what you were saying. And then, yeah, Christina then starts asking questions or starts making comments around, Lenore shares that she entered Miss India and Miss KZN in India and she actually won. And then one thing about Christina, she likes sounding profound when there's literally a bunch of nothings that is coming out of her mouth. So she starts making I comment about, how did you feel or how did you act having to prove yourself because you were the only one who's not brown skinned there. I'm like, how did you get to the point of you being the only one or Lenore being the only one? I felt like, even though Christina did not see anything wrong in what she was saying, I agree. When Lenore called Christina aside, she said that it's not in the fact that you have an opinion, it is in the way you say this stuff. And I agree. I feel like if Christina was truly inquisitive about, Lenore's background, about where her being mixed, I feel like it would have been much more appropriate and appreciated if it was like a one-on-one thing where she was asking Lenore. But for you to say it in a public setting, considering the fact that Lenore's saying that Christina has made these comments several of times, I'm just like, why do you want to always like be sound and be relevant, Christina? Like, why? I don't get it. Like, she always feels the need to say something. And what's bizarre for me is that she'll always find a way of commenting on something someone's saying and make it and turn it into something that's all about her. I'm like, Christina, you are a rare, rare, rare breed. Another thing that Christina actually says, guys, when Lenore gets to call her to have that one-on-one lesson, Christina's not having it, nothing is landing, Christina starts making it an age thing. I'm just like, Lenore handled that conversation so well, you guys. If it was me, I would have lost my cool. I would have lost my cool with that girl and I would have never ever invited her to anything else. But listen, Lenore she did conduct herself very well, but I just felt I get why Lenore was offended, you guys, because anytime a person has to mention race things, it's not fair. But I just feel like Lenore could have maintained her cool. She did maintain her cool in the conversation, but when Christina was asking the questions at the table, you could see that Lenore was a bit off. But again, it is granted, but everyone could literally see that Lenore was pissed off and irritated at the comments that Christina was making. Christina goes ahead to say in her diary session that she was basically she could see Lenore's legs, all of her legs, including her underwear, something like that. And I'm just like, ma'am, the rubbish and the dirt that comes out of your mouth, I really hope when we do have a reunion that you're not going to cry and try and apologize and say you've been through stuff. I really hope you're going to stand for all of this, because there's no way, guys. There's no way. Let us park it off right here. Tell me, what did you think of this latest episode, you guys? Please do make sure you like the video. Please do subscribe. It is absolutely for free of charge, and I'll see you guys on the next one.